George Washington, the first President of the United States, born February 22nd, 1732, and President from 1789 to 1797. He led this country to liberty and independence in 1783 from the hold of tyranny of the British Empire in the American Revolutionary War. Washington was one of the founding fathers of this nation, architects of the Constitution, and an incredible example of a president. He would die on December 14, 1799, being remembered as one of the greatest American presidents. John Adams, the second President of the United States, serving from 1797 to 1801, was one of the founding fathers and would assist in writing the Constitution. He was a principal leader during the Revolution in uniting the nation for independence, but in his presidency he would have to manage with French hostilities as a result of the British and French conflicts during the French Revolution. He would make negotiations to end the quasi-war with France. Thomas Jefferson was born April 13, 1743. He served as the second Vice President of the United States from 1797 to 1801 until he became the third President of the United States from 1801 to 1809. He was also an American statesman, diplomat, lawyer, architect, philosopher, and he was a founding father. James Madison was born March 16, 1751, at Belle Grove Plantation in Port Conway, Virginia. He was a public servant who served to produce the Constitution of the United States of America and became the fourth President of the United States, and serving as Commander-in-Chief in the War of 1812, and was the only president to lead troops in battle while in office. He passed away June 28, 1836. William Henry Harrison, the ninth president. He was born February 9, 1773, and died April 4, 1841. Harrison was president from March 4, 1841 to April 4, 1841. Harrison died 31 days into office after catching a bad case of pneumonia. Abraham Lincoln was an American statesman and lawyer who served as the 16th President of the United States from March 1861 until his assassination in April 1865. Lincoln was born on February 12, 1809, and led the nation in the American Civil War and brought the emancipation of the slaves. Teddy Roosevelt. Roosevelt was the 26th president in office, from 1901 to 1909. He was famously known for his great appreciation for the natural environments of the United States and appearance on the national landmarks of Mount Rushmore. He was a very big conservationist and would establish many major and new national parks. He would also begin the construction of the Panama Canal, changing the flow of commerce and international trade. Franklin D. Roosevelt was the 32nd president. He was born January 30th, 1882, and died April 12th, 1945. FDR was president from March 4th, 1933 to April 12th, 1945. FDR was our first physically disabled president. He was also seen with a helper so that he could walk around so to not show weakness to the U.S. people. He died in office from brain hemorrhaging. Lyndon B. Johnson. LBJ was the 36th president, taking the position after John F. Kennedy's assassination. He would be in office from 1963 to 1969. Johnson would create and pass many important legislation for civil rights, healthcare, and starting the war on poverty to improve the state's important social issues. His decision of staying in the Vietnam War would cause him to lose popularity in the public as failures and the negative media coverage of the war increased. Richard Nixon was the 37th president. He was born January 9, 1913, and died April 22, 1994. Nixon was president from January 20, 1969 to August 9, 1974. Nixon came into office and stopped the Vietnam War. During his second term, he delivered resources to Israel to support them during the Yom Kippur War. Gerald Ford, the 38th president, would be in office from 1974 to 1977. In his presidency, he would bring the United States out of the Vietnam War, deal and negotiate many international conflicts and relations, including NATO, Israel, Turkey, Egypt, and communist nations of the time, such as China and the Soviet Union. Jimmy Earl Carter Jr. was born October 1st, 1924. He was an American politician who served as the 39th President of the United States from 1977 to 1981. A member of the Democratic Party, he previously served as Georgia's state senator from 1963 to 1967, and as the 76th governor of Georgia from 1971 to 1975. Ronald Reagan was an American politician who served as the 40th President of the United States from 1981 to 1989, and became a highly influential voice of modern conservatism. Prior to his presidency, he was a Hollywood actor and union leader before serving as the 33rd governor of California from 1967 to 1975. George H.W. Bush was the 41st president. He was born June 12, 1924, and died November 30, 2018. H.W. Bush was president from January 20, 1989 to January 20, 1993. George H.W. Bush negotiated and signed the North American Free Trade Act, allowing free trade between the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. He also signed the American with Disabilities Act of 1990. Bill Clinton was the 42nd president. He was born August 9, 1946, and currently lives in Washington, D.C. Clinton was president from January 20th, 1993 to January 20th, 2001. Clinton started a plan for national health care reform. He created the William J. Clinton Foundation to address international issues such as the AIDS epidemic or climate change. George W. Bush. He was the 43rd president to serve the nation. His presidency lasting from 2001 and 2009. In his presidency would occur the 9/11 attacks, the Iraqi War, the Afghan War, and the War on Terror. He would create a new entire agency called the National Surveillance Agency, and would change how people enter the U.S. in response to the 9/11 attacks to increase security. Barack Obama was the 44th president. He was born August 4th, 1961, and currently lives in Washington, D.C. Obama was president from January 20th, 2009 to January 20th, 2017. Obama would help with the Supreme Court. He was able to strike down same-sex marriage bans as unconstitutional. He also created the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, known as Obamacare. Donald John Trump is the 45th and current president of the United States. He was a businessman and television personality before entering the world of politics. Trump was born on June 14, 1946, and was raised in the borough of Queens, New York. Upon his inauguration, Trump became the oldest and wealthiest person to assume the presidency. He also was the first president to have no prior political or military experience.